Now we call upon a man who is a revolutionary, a freedom fighter, former mayor of this city, a mayor who led this city with absolute grace. Little cases or no cases of corruption were heard under his stewardship. A man who is an epitome of honesty. A man who is the national chairman of the United Movement for Devolution. I call upon Alderman Martin Moyo to come and give us the welcome remarks and also give us the background of the party, Mr. Chairman.
Baba Sibanda, wothini ngiqale ngokuhlonipha our president, the former speaker of the Zimbabwean parliament, the right honorable Ubaba Lovemore Moyo, lo Mrs. Moyo by his side. Then ngize hlonipha ama members national executive who are in our midst. Ngihloniphe njalo generality of the membership of the UMD, our invited guests, ikakhulu Baba Mkandla, siyakwemukela kulo umbuthano ngale ikuseni, lizizwe likhululekile. Then labangani bethu, members of the media who are here, we really are very happy that you are here covering this event. Now, vele angazi kumbe inasingeni Zimbabwe is one country that is more English than all the other countries around us. Nxa kungathiwa senze izinto sandise ukubhala ngesikhiwa lapho kulapha bhale ngesikhiwa senze lenhloni ukuthi nxa kuthiwa icolonialism umuntu ule colonial mentality engxenye I could be suffering from that disease, but ngicela lingixolele okunye ngiza kutsho ngesi Ndebele, but bengivele ngilungise okuyi presentation kwami lokhu ngesikhiwa. We are gathered here at this venue in Jube to witness a very auspicious occasion. It is the launch of our UMD manifesto for the 2023 harmonized elections. I will have the honor shortly after these remarks perhaps of inviting our president, the Right Honorable Ubaba Lovemore Moyo, to do the actual honors. However, before that, let me introduce to you the United Movement for Devolution and explain briefly why it was formed. The UMD is a new political formation born on the 7th of April 2018 on the realization that there is a crisis of governance in the nation of Zimbabwe. The crisis is characterized by rampant corruption, corruption, pillage and looting of national resources, abanye abantu izisu sezithinta phansi ngokunotha besidla at the expense of others. Abuse of state organs and violations of citizens' human rights and lack of accountability by those with a mandate to mind our national affairs and other relevant state actors. The UMD is offering a solution to cure the crisis of governance. The solution, in our view, is to transform the system of governance from the current centralized form of governance to a nationally devolved system of governance. Devolution really is sharing of power. Instead of power being concentrated in Harare amongst a few people, we are saying how yekani lati konapa kubulawa metropolitan province sike sikholise ukuzibusa, sivumele imathi north layo ikholise ukuzibusa, imathi south ngokufananayo, imaswingo ngokufananayo, iManicaland ngokufananayo, and all the Mashonaland provinces lazo ngokufananayo, including the Midlands. Devolution was the answer the people of Zimbabwe opted for during the constitution-making process that culminated into the 2013 Constitution of Zimbabwe. 8 out of 10 provinces voted for devolution of power. 8 provinces out of 10 voted for inasigene devolution. Next year will be 10 years since the new constitution was adopted in 2013. Section 14 of that constitution that prescribes devolution of power remains unimplemented. What we hear is the distribution of devolution funds without the actual devolved institutions to handle those funds. No one in government seems to care if Section 14 is ever implemented. Devolution akusiyo mali. Devolution is power. Power that is given to the provinces and to the people. Now, devolution ilama institutions which are devolved. For instance, we can speak of a provincial parliament. Balayo, but kabafunu ukuthi parliament, but provincial council. But that provincial council remains unconstituted to this day. Asikaze sizwe kuthiwa khona inasingeni provincial council yeBulawayo metropolitan province iyahlangana. Lokuthi nxa behlangana kade vele bahlangana ngaphi asikaze sibabone. I like always to give example of Kenya. Kenya had an inconclusive election in 2007, eyotiyaba ngo 2008. Kwaba lokubulalana enasigene Kenya, kwaba ne bloodbath. Kwethusa amazwe omhlaba. Kwathunywa eminent persons to go and mediate Kenya. That group of eminent persons was led by former General Secretary of the United Nations, Kofi Annan. Wafika wahlanganisa the warring factions zama Kenyans, the political parties, baphuma le government of national unity. That government of national unity, I think, must have been instituted in 2008. Yasebenza, one of the things that it produced was a new constitution, devolved constitution of Kenya. In 2010, that constitution was adopted by the Kenyan parliament as the new constitution, the new supreme law of Kenya. Now, kabazange bethi ayi constitution sesilayo bayithaka ngaphansi kwama drawer. Babumba a body that was called the Transitional Authority of Kenya. That transitional authority was led by Chairman Emeritus okwakuthiwa nguKinuthia, okuthiwa ukhona lakatesi, Kinuthia Wamangi. basebenza to put institutions, devolved institutions in place. Babumba bonabala thina silama provinces, bonabala ama counties, ama county legislatures, baqeda ama county executives, baqeda bafaka all the institutions that are required to manage inasingeni devolution. In 3 years, 2013, basebeqedile. Kenya had a devolved system of governance in place and running. Today, if you go to Kenya and you visit any county, the story is one of prosperity, satisfaction. Abantu beKenya akusela ukuqokozela konke lokhwana okwakukhona, because all those tribal rivalries, party rivalries, have been solved. They are no longer there. That is really what devolution would do. Devolution is sharing power with the provinces. We will still remain with the central government, but the provinces must be allowed to run their own affairs. By comparison, no, it's not by comparison, rather by contrast, Lati sibe le inconclusive election ngo 2008. Kwaba le runoff which was very bloody. Mboni ngathi sasisizwa istory sibona lama pictures, graphic images of people that had been mutilated for political reasons. Sabona, the former president of the UMD, Utswangirai, Maduku, Baba Lalikoda Landa Bazai Belichai, Maduku, Mama Luana Singh, Utruti Stevenson, Puma Estogisi, Bemango Bechayiwe, Bepanditile, Inasingena Makanda, Inasingen Swangra Kumbli, EMBI Dabule, Itoile ini, Ikas. Mama Trudy Stevenson, when I see it, even broken bones. I'm not so sure which part of whether it was the arm or the leg, but she had broken bones. Baya esibhedlela. Lokhu kwethusa ama leaders awe SADC. They have always been complicit and cooperative with the regime in Zimbabwe. Kwabe ethusa this time, but when no lapha sokufuneka intervention. And they decided to second President of South Africa then, Thabo Mbeki, to come and mediate. Wabuya ke lapha uNasingeni Thabo Mbeki wa mediator. What came out of that mediation was a government of national unity, EGNU. I think it was constituted in 2009 and February. Was it February, March, February, somewhere there, 2009. But the election had been in 2008, July, somewhere thereabouts. Sabale government of national unity. Now, the GNU's biggest achievement was a new constitution of Zimbabwe, a constitution in 2013. The constitution ka 2013 le yafaka or yavuma into okuthiwa i-devolution, bathumela abantu all over the country to consult ama-citizens of Zimbabwe. What kind of governance system do you want? Abantu bathi bafuna a devolved system of governance. 8 provinces out of 10 opted for a devolved system of governance. And this is the devolution that we are talking about. Unlike other political parties, we as UMD are not obsessed with getting to State House. Abanye, they pretend as if getting to State House is an ideology. It cannot be an ideology just getting to State House. Getting to State House to do what? To continue with the present status quo. No, we are saying no. State House cannot be an ideology. Our ideology is devolution of power. The UMD seeks to transform the system of governance into a nationally devolved one. The UMD was born in Bulawayo and by extension, Ndebele land. However, it is not a Ndebele land party. It is a national party. Practically, devolution cannot be regional. Devolution is national. We want the same devolution we desire for Bulawayo Metropolitan Province to apply to Harare Metro Province, to apply to Mashonaland provinces, to apply to Manicaland, Maswingo, the Midlands provinces, as well as both Ndebele land provinces. We want a nationally devolved state. That is what we are setting out to achieve. Let State House come as incidental to the wishes of the people of Zimbabwe, who deserve a nationally devolved system of governance, who yearn for an accountable leadership, who desire an end to corruption and looting of state resources by a coterie of few ruling elite and their henchmen, to the detriment of the national economy, to the detriment of the livelihoods and welfare of the masses, and hence the resultant suffering and economic turmoil. We expect people to eventually choose us to lead them because we have a solution to the governance dissonance, the chaos and economic morass we find ourselves in. Ngoba nge UMD kuzolunga. Ngiyabonga.
Viva devolution, viva, 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 tamandla devolution, viva.
Siyazabalaza kankasa.
Sukuma ukuthi nginxuse ubaba Honorable Speaker, former Speaker of Parliament, and President of the UMD, Ubaba Right Honorable Lovemore Moyo. But before I do that, wothini ngichaze nje ukuthi ubaba uMoyo ungubani. Ubaba uMoyo is a family man. Here he is sitting next to his spouse, Mrs. Moyo. Balaba fana abatatu. Yena, he was born 57 years ago, Matopo district, in the Mpandeni area under Chief Bango, Mbembeswana area. Ule degree in development studies, le BA degree, le Master of Science degree in Development Studies. He has served in various liberation movements. YSA Zambia with the Zimbabwe African People's Union ZAP during the liberation struggle. Ute esevele konale eZambia after the war, esesekhaya lapha. Wa sebenza le open forum who collaborated with Forum for Democratic Reform Trust to form the Forum Party of Zimbabwe. Angazi kumbe abadala njengami lisayikhumbula. Mbona ngathi yayikhokhelwa ngu-Justice Dumbuchene. This advocated for devolution of power. Ngezikhathi ze-forum days khonapha, they were already talking about a devolution of power from central government to provincial governments. He is the founding president of a political and cultural pressure group known as Imbovane Yamahlabe Zulu. He is a founder member of the Movement for Democratic Change, MDC, in the year 99. Labo late Morgan Tsvangirai, late Ubabu Gibson Spanda, Otulini and others. He was elected first in the year 2000 as a member of parliament for Matobo and Matobo North constituencies respectively for 3 consecutive terms. He is the former national chairperson of the Movement for Democratic Change, MDC, from 2006 to 2018. Then wakhetwa ke ukuba ngu-Speaker of Parliament of Zimbabwe in the year 2008 to the year 2013. Mboni ngathi i-election yakhona ngiyakhumbula Jonathan Moyo bezama ukumanuva but behluleka wangena uMoyo as Speaker of Parliament. Then ekhonangale he was also elected chairperson of the SADC Parliamentary Forum. So ngumuntu who is well versed and has a very long history egu politics. Njalo nguye okade senza imithetho. I-constitution yona le esikhuluma ngayo eka 2013 aluba iyanikwa isibongo besiza ukuthi 2013 constitution Moyo because he is the one who led a compilation of that constitution right from a consultative process right down to a compilation attending to all the legal issues. So when it comes to governance, I have no doubt that we have a candidate or a wide knowledge of governance issues, legislative issues, and olothando futhi lwe sizwe seZimbabwe ukuthi abantu behlale kuhle iZimbabwe ithuthuke lathi sisiqhenye ngelizwe lethu. Baba Moyo, ngicela lisukume likhulume labantu.
Sihlangene lapha namhlanje sizo launcha manifesto yenhlanganiso. Uchairman usechazile ukuthi inhlanganiso ivela ngaphi lokuthi inhlanganiso iya ngaphi. Yikho esithe silinquse sibe ndawonye libo yibufakazi kwalokho esikwenzayo. Lokho esikwenzayo banbakithi akuseyo mfihlo sokuyinto esisebandla esisebantwini lapho esichaza khona izifiso zethu sisiya kukhetho luka 2023. Ngiyakwazi abanye bebezibuza ukuthi pho ukukhetho sizakuba sikhona kumbe sizabe singekho. Ngithanda ukuthi ngikutsho to declare that sikhona ku 2023 harmonized general elections. Njenge UMD sifuna ukuthi lathi siyeqoqoda khona ngani siyeguduza abantu ngemakhaya. Abantu sibabikela esikuthweleyo njenge-UMD. Thina silolutho esiluthweleyo, yikho siziqhaja ngakho. Singabo sibabili sibathathu sibalutshwana kodwa silolutho esiluthweleyo. Hayi abanye abakhuluma ngokutshintsha kuphela, lokuvisa kuphela. No. I-politics leyo thina sesisukile kiyo. Asekho ku-politics eyokususa umuntu esihlalweni lokuthi faka omunye esihlalweni. No. Ayilunganga e-politics. Thina i-politics njenge-UMD esesikiyo yi-politics eletha uhlelo ebantwini, inhlelo ezithuthukisa abantu, inhlelo okuyizo okumele ziguqule impilo zabantu. Yikho nxa sikhuluma nge-devolution, sikhuluma ngombono, umbono olenhlelo. Sikhuluma ngamandla kakhulu ku-devolution. I-focus yethu ngamandla. Siwakhangela amandla ukuthi nxa amandla ethe abuthana kundawo eyodwa aba dangerous. Amandla nxa ebuthene endaweni eyodwa. Sibonile kusikhathi esidluleyo ngo-1980 ukuthi amandla ngabe ofisini eyodwa umuntu uyenelisa ukuthuma amasotsha ukuthi ehambe echaya abanye abantu, edubula abanye abantu, ecatshisa abanye abantu, ebulala abanye abantu. Ngenxa yokuthi amandla ahleze emuntwini oyedwa. Sizokuthi thina asitshintsheni i-politics leyo eZimbabwe. Ngoba i-politics yokufuna ukutshintsha singene lo sephumile. That politics kayisincede. Uzathi sumkhiphile lo buyayo ubona ngathi yena uzabo yini, uzabe angel kumbe la umuntu njengalo simkhiphileyo. Kumele ukuzwisise khona. Kuqhathekile khona. Ngiyazi ukuthi inengi kathesi uthola abantu okulikhathaza uchairman uchilo ukuthi asikhipheni sesidiniwe. Yes, asikhipheni izanu sesidiniwe ngayo. But mina ngifuna ukuthi ungitshele ukuthi ngikhipha izanu ungantshela ukuthi ungakhipha izanu kuyini okulandelayo. I-UMD kayifuni ukuthi iphonga ukuthi asikhipheni singakhiphi into ziyalunga. Akulanto enjalo. Iminyaka esesispendile ku-politics imnengi. Safunda okunengi, almost 42 years. Safunda okunengi sibancane sesikhulele ku-politics. So into yokuthatha ludumo, i-mob psychology politics, thina sihambelani nayo. Sifuna politics with substance. Nxa sikhuluma nge-change, i-change yethu i-change with substance. I-change esikhuluma ngayo. Asikhulumi nje nge-change kumbe kuphonga ukuthi asitshintsheni. Liyasazi islogan esasilaso kudala labantu esayisabo sonke ngale. Asisafuni islogan, sesifuna into ebambekayo. Into esizayithatha sithi sesingenile embusweni siletha lokho. Nxa singena embusweni siletha i-devolution. Hayi lokho abanye bakhuluma nge-devolution kodwa kabalethi devolution. Thina sifuna ukuletha i-devolution. Nxa sikhuluma ngokuletha i-devolution sithi sifuna ukuthi sibe lama province esizavumelana njengama Zimbabweans ukuthi ema province funa amangaki. Khathesi le 10. Thina sikhulekile ukuthi abantu bangathi abe yi5 sivumelane lakho. Lisakhumbula ama province ayi5 ayikhona. IMidlands, iManicaland, iMasvingo, iMatabeleland, le mashonaland. Abantu bafuna lala i5 thina silahlupho lakho. Ngoba esikufunayo sifuna ukuthi amandla eye kuma provinces kumbe lokubiza regions angikwazi ukuthi wena. Isikhathi esiningi khonokho nxa ukukhuluma kakhulu vela kwele mandebele bathi khona usukhuluma itribalism. What's that nonsense? Nxa ukhuluma bathi usukhuluma itribalism ngoba usukumile wathi khona ngifuna ukuthi iMatabeleland izibambele umnotho wayo, izibambele ipolitics yayo iMatabeleland. Ngifuna ukuthi iMaswingo izibambele umnotho wayo, izibambele ipolitics yayo. Ngifuna ukuthi iMashonaland izibambele umnotho wayo, izibambele ipolitics yayo. Hachi ukuthi iMashonaland izoba nje umnotho wayo umuntu ovela eMatabeleland. What interest do you have khona ngale? Awulandanga uyahuquluza. Anjye ulanda uyahuquluza. Ulanda uyahola imali. Ungahola imali ngeweekend uya ngaphi? Khumbula ekhaya. Akunjalo. So ulesikhathi yini to develop that area? Interest yakho ingakanani khona? Mina ngiyakwazi ukuthi ungathi ngiyesebenza eManikaland ngizaba ngile interest egcweleyo. Sithe ngesikhathi kudingakala umeya edolobheni leHarare singasilohlupho. Ngitshela imfihlo. Sakhuluma the president ngaleso sikhathi uThwangirayi lo vice wakhe. Abantu bathi sicela uMoyo ezoba umeya weHarare. Anjye lakwazi ukuthi party ayivunyelwe kwaappoint. Athi ditheni uMoyo with your experience ukuthi usibambele iHarare. Athi hayi madoda. Yes, I'm a national leader. But akulanto engathatha leHarare other than ukuthi is my capital city. But ungathi ngizobamba uBulawayo ngingehla ngibuye ngizobambani uBulawayo ngoba yikho lapha okulenkaba yami khona. So ngiyenzela ukuthi sikuzwisise bantu bakithi ukuthi kuqhatheke ungakanani ukuseva isigaba sakini, ukuseva isiqinti sakini. Yikho bantu bakithi esingakho asila tribalism. But siyazigqaja ukuthi omnye lo moya ekhumbule ekhaya hambe esebenzela ngaphi kini. Kanti uyachiya kini kuyasebenza ubani? Kuyasebenza ubani? So amagwala laba anjye izigoma kulamagwala ayisabayo. Umuntu uyesaba ungathi uthi hayi asitsho ukuthi masithi umsebenzela kibo. Sithi hayi umuntu ovela eSouth Africa akakwanisi ukusebenza la. No uyakwanisa. But uzakhokhela njani abantu nxa ungela wena ungazi culture yaleyo ndawo? Ngifuna ukuthi sizwisisane lapha esikhona. So imanifesto lesingayo ikhuluma ngezinto zenezwe ezimqoka. Izinto zenezwe ukuthi umuntu kumele ethuthukisa isigaba sakibo kuqala ungakathuthukisa isigaba sabanye abantu. Sithi nxa siqhatsha endaweni ezijiyeneyo lizezwe imanifesto yakhuluma infrastructural development ukulungiswa kwemadamu lemgwaqo. Sithi nxa sokwenzakala lokho esigabeni sakini akuqhatshwe abaqala kuleso sigaba. Singakavumela abavela ngaphi? Ngapha. Angazi ukuthi liqala na ma UMD ukubiza ukufuna into enjalo. Kuliqala na. Siyakuvumelana. So ngiyajabula ukuthi namhlanje sila launcha imanifesto yethu sivumelana ukuthi kasilocala ukufuna kusebenzela ngakini. Yikho ke bantu bakithi uchairman uchilo ukuthi indaba le kumbe kuncindezelwa kumbe mentality nalelo usafunda ngesikhiwa okuyizi konke sikubhale ngesikhiwa. So sendenhloni lami nje chairman ukuthi abantu bakithi ngiqala ulubalela ngesikhiwa. But let me assure the media ngizalinika ama copies of my full speech. Ngiyenza kube lula ngikhulume labantu benzwisisa. But let me capture or highlight few things that I alluded to on my speech. Today, we gather at this historic moment in the history of our party to witness the presentation of our manifesto document to the people of Zimbabwe. The manifesto truly represents our character and form as we demonstrate our political resolve and commitment to see the full implementation of devolution of power during the life of the next government. That's the commitment. Meaning that the next government, the UMD, will be part of that next government. There isn't it? So those who are here, we mean business. We are not just being curtain raisers. We are not going to remain in the periphery because we have what it takes to lead this country. Abanye siyehlulwa ukuthi ilizwe leli libuswa ngomhlobo. And that thing must stop. Singakuvumini khona. Lani lile problem bantu baleli screen. Selikuvuma. Hambani khona ngale libe ngo-deputy. Abakabani. Kumele ube ngu-deputy omuntu okwanisayo. Hatshi u-deputy omuntu ozabe umtrainer umfundisa. Abanye sabatrainer for 13 years. Sibatrain. 13 years sibatrainer i-politics. Yebo isikhundla asiqhathe ka. But I want you to gain confidence in yourselves. I get angry and troubled when you don't do that. Abantu bakithi seligcwele ubugwala. Uzanchayila ingoma ke izwe layita amagwala ayesaba ngiyayithanda ingoma leyana so yakithi kodwa yakhuluma. Phela igwala lidla licachile. But that must stop. Laba balalesi launch. We are the first one in the political landscape in this country to launch our 2023 manifesto. We are the first one. We want to begin to prepare for elections now. Ngali buyela back ifocus yethu ikuma branches, kuma wards. Lingabuyi lizobuza thina hambani linjele lithi hayi president sesilo councilor la. So kumele siqalise ukusebenza. Sesijust abantu. Lingamelele ukuthi kulomnye ozabuye ezolitshela futhi selizwile. Thina sifuna ama councillors. Yikho lapho kule power khona. Yikho lapho i-devolution eqalisa khona. I-devolution kayiqalisi ku-MP. I-devolution kayiqalisi ku-president. I-devolution iqalisa ngaphi? Ebantwini. Ngoba sifuna ukuthi livale space. Go and occupy that political space, livale. Kungela umuntu ongenayo. Zimbabwe is in a state of paralysis. Things have fallen apart in our country, and the center can no longer hold, as once alluded to by a renowned Nigerian author, Shona Achebe, in one of his famous books. The majority of patriotic Zimbabweans, regardless of their political affiliation, will agree with me on this assertion and conclusion. It is a tacit fact that ZANU-PF is at the center of this political, social, and economic quagmire that confronts the country, and it is indisputable that for the past 42 years, it has failed the nation and its citizens. The ZANU-PF rule has created a class-based society where the ruling class, their relatives and friends continue unabated with the act of primitive accumulation of wealth at the expense of the ordinary citizens. Lilaba abahuquluzi benotho liyababona. Uchairman uthe izisu zabo sezinjani? Athwele angazi njengoba la isisu sithi jaha kumbe lawo bakubaleka ngale ayibona indoda le isisu. But mbona ngathi awukhulunywa ngabo lapha uyabona ukuthi indoda iyasutha le. Kabala ziswe zethu lezi zabantu abacakileyo njengathi. But okusimangalisayo ukuthi bayaqhubeka beqhubeka belokho befuna more and more and more. Belokho betshontsha more and more and more. Mina ngithi nxa utshontshile wanotha kade usafunana. But ukhaya ngathi so ngathi ibuthakathi. Anje okuthiwa nxa ufakwe lokhuyana kumbuhlungela ekuloye na umi ungaze ubanjwe kawumi ungaze utshela ukuthi umthakathi onjani kawumi ngoba sokuyiculture. So mhlambe this is what esikhangelanelako. On the other hand, the poor, the marginalized, the unemployed, and the economically excluded communities are barely making enough to feed their families. Imajority yabantu leyo. Liyakwazi bomama ikakhulu mbona kulawo mama ne ukuthi kunzima njani ukunakana ukuthi intambama kudliwana. Akunjani? I think all of you likhathaza ukuthi intambama kunjani? Kudliwana. Ekseni angazi kumbe liyathi ekseni kudliwana. Umoya lwana udlizolo bona ukuthi uyakulokuthi ekseni ukhona. But definitely sokuchaya imini yantambama. The question kumama wonke ntambama kudliwana. Whereas ulabantu abahleze eHarare ababona ukudla ufika ngamacele wonke. This is a clear result of poor leadership and bad governance. Sithi sikuhlupho lolu because of poor leadership and bad governance on the part of the incumbent government, that is government of ZANU-PF. I would like to emphasize that at the center of all this political mayhem, social and economic crisis the country faces is the crisis, as I've already alluded, of leadership and governance. Akula bukokheli, I declare that. When I was asked to speak at Africa Day, mhlaka 25, I declared again, ilizwe le-Africa, i-continent Africa fails to rise to the occasion to develop because akula bukokheli Africa. Kulabantu who are just position holders. Abala thando lwabantu. Oh, ngiyayithi izinto ngiyamthola uMandela. Siyakwazi ngabe le fault ethize, but uMandela is one leader owayithanda abantu. Owayithanda abantu. Sasilonkomo, unkomo wayithanda abantu. Hachi lolo lwathola umbuso ngo-1980 lolo olwaluzonda abantu batsho ukuthi unina wathi ilizwe lizadubeka umntanami lo uyosengupresident because umuntu wayelomona xa wayengela mona then tell me why wathumela iguground ukuthi yebulala abantu ngayizwa abantu bakithi. So Africa, Zimbabwe lacks that character, lacks that kind of leadership. Ndebele ndikuwesi, you have relegated your leaders to enyinto lemsam. So, is that what you want? Mina, I will respond on your behalf and say no. So, we are saying bad political and economic decisions and the choices by ZANU-PF government has tremendously caused harm to the ordinary citizens, leading to the collapse of the economy and the dissemination of social fabric. Akusela kuhlalisana, akusela kuhlonipha kweculture. Abantu abasahloniphana izinto zizwayo, ama cases owazwayo kuma communities, they are amazing with how abantu bengenza into enjalo njani. So I want you to note that. What we continue seeing ZANU-PF government doing is the implementation of their divide and rule strategy, where most economic and social programs and activities benefit largely ZANU-PF linked individuals, while deliberately excluding the majority of citizens. We are saying that must stop. And it must not stop now. I encourage Zimbabweans to elect a government for the people that will be inclusive and represent the aspirations of all Zimbabweans, regardless of political affiliation. Hachi lokhu ukuthi abantu bonke seligijima lisiya join izanu ukuze liyehola. That must stop. Abanye gijime khona ukuthi uzuyethola i-t-shirt. That must stop. Kumele abantu bethole because they are Zimbabweans njalo balama needs. Sibona ukudilika komnotho suku zonke. Sibona ubusela nsuku zonke. Sibona infrastructure idilika. Khangela imigwaqo njenge-UMD. Sifuna ukuthi lathi siyeqoqoda khona ngale. Siyeguduza abantu ngemakhaya. Abantu sibabikela esikuthweleyo njenge-UMD. Thina silolutho esilithweleyo, ikho sisiqhaja ngakho. Singabo sibabili sibathathu sibalutshwana kodwa silolutho esilithweleyo. Hachi abanye abakhuluma ngokutshintsha kuphela, lokuvisa kuphela. No. I-politics leyo thina sesisukile kiyo. Asekho ku-politics eyokususa umuntu esihlalweni lokuthi faka omunye esihlalweni. No. Ayilunganga e-politics. Thina i-politics njenge-UMD esesikiyo yi-politics eletha uhlelo ebantwini, inhlelo ezithuthukisa abantu, inhlelo okuyizo okumele ziguqule impilo zabantu. Yikho nxa sikhuluma nge-devolution, sikhuluma ngombono, umbono olenhlelo. sikhuluma ngamandla kakhulu ku devolution. Ifocus yethu ngamandla. Siwakhangela amandla ukuthi nxa amandla ethe abuthana kundawo eyodwa aba dangerous. Amandla nxa ebuthene endaweni eyodwa. Sibonile kusikhathi esidluleyo ngo1980 ukuthi amandla ngabe ofisini eyodwa umuntu uyenelisa ukuthuma amasotsha ukuthi ehambe echaya abanye abantu, edubula abanye abantu, ecatshisa abanye abantu, ebulala abanye abantu. Ngenxa yokuthi amandla ahleze emuntwini oyedwa. Sizokuthi thina asitshintsheni politics leyo eZimbabwe. Ngoba ipolitics yokufuna ukutshintsha singene lo sephumile. That politics kayisincede. Uzathi sumkhiphile lo buyayo ubona ngathi yena uzabo yini, uzabe angel kumbe la umuntu njengalo simkhiphileyo. Kumele ukuzwisise khona. Kuqhathekile khona. Ngiyazi ukuthi inengi kathesi uthola abantu okulikhathaza uchairman uchilo ukuthi asikhipheni sesidiniwe. Yes, asikhipheni izanu sesidiniwe ngayo. But mina ngifuna ukuthi ungitshele ukuthi ngikhipha izanu ungantshela ukuthi ungakhipha izanu kuyini okulandelayo. IUMD kayifuni ukuthi iphonga ukuthi asikhipheni singakhiphi into ziyalunga. Akulanto enjalo. Iminyaka esesispendile ku politics imnengi. Safunda okunengi, almost 42 years. Safunda okunengi sibancane sesikhulele ku politics. So into yokuthatha ludumo, mob psychology politics, thina sihambelana nayo. Sifuna politics with substance. Nxa sikhuluma nge-change, i-change yethu i-change with substance. I-change esikhuluma ngayo. Asikhulumi nje nge-change kumbe kuphonga ukuthi asitshintsheni. Liyasazi islogan esasilaso kudala labantu esayisabo sonke ngale. Asisafuni islogan, sesifuna into ebambeka. Into esizayithatha sithi sesingenile embusweni siletha lokho. Nxa singena embusweni siletha i-devolution. Hachi lokho abanye bakhuluma nge-devolution. Kodwa kabalethi devolution. Thina sifuna ukuletha i-devolution. Nxa sikhuluma ukuletha i-devolution sithi sifuna ukuthi sibe lama province esizavumelana njengama Zimbabweans ukuthi ema province funa amangaki. Kade sile 10. Thina sikhulekile ukuthi abantu bangathi abe yi5 sivumelane lakho. Lisakhumbula ama province ayi5 ayikhona. IMidlands, iManicaland, iMaswingo, iMatabeleland, leMashonaland. Abantu bafuna lala yi5 thina silahlupho lakho. Ngoba esikufunayo sifuna ukuthi amandla eye kuma provinces kumbe lokubiza regions angikwazi ukuthi wini. Isikhathi esiningi khonokho nxa ukukhuluma kakhulu vela kwele mandebele bathi khona usukhuluma i-tribalism. What's that nonsense? Nxa ukhuluma bathi usukhuluma i-tribalism ngoba usukumile wathi khona ngifuna ukuthi iMatabeleland izibambele umnotho wayo, izibambele ipolitics yayo iMatabeleland. Ngifuna ukuthi iMaswingo izibambele umnotho wayo, izibambele ipolitics yayo. Ngifuna ukuthi iMashonaland izibambele umnotho wayo, izibambele ipolitics yayo. Hachi ukuthi iMashonaland izoba nje umnotho wayo umuntu ovela eMatabeleland. What interest do you have khona ngale? Awulandanga uyahuquluza. Anjye ulanda uyahuquluza. Ulanda uyahola imali. Ungahola imali ngeweekend uyangaphi? Khumbula ekhaya. Akunjalo. So ulesikhathi yini to develop that area? I-interest yakho ingakani khona? mina ngiyakwala ukuthi ungathi ngiyesebenza eManicaland ngizaba ngile interest egcweleyo. Sithe ngesikhathi kudingakala umeya edolobheni leHarare singasihluphwa. Nditshela imfihlo. Sakhuluma the president ngaleso sikhathi uThwangirai lo vice wakhe. Abantu bathi sicela uMoyo ezoba umeya weHarare. Antsho lakwazi ukuthi party ayivunyelwa kwaPoint. Athi ditheni uMoyo with your experience ukuthi usibambele iHarare. Athi hayi madoda. Yes, I'm a national leader. But akulanto engathatha leHarare other than ukuthi is my capital city. But ungathi ngizobamba uBulawayo ngingehla ngibuye ngizobamba ni uBulawayo ngoba yikho lapha okulenkaba yami khona. So ngiyenzela ukuthi sikuzwisise bantu bakithi ukuthi kuqhatheke ungakanani ukuseva isigaba sakini, ukuseva isiqinti sakini. Yikho bantu bakithi esingakho asila tribalism, but siyazigqaja ukuthi omnye lo moya ekhumbule ekhaya hambe esebenzela ngaphi kini, kanti uyachiya kini kuyasebenza ubani, kuyasebenza ubani. So amagwala laba antsho izigoma kulamagwala ayisabayo. Umuntu uyesaba ungathi uthi hayi asitsho ukuthi masithi umuntu usebenzela kibo sithi hayi umuntu ovele eSouth Africa akakwanisi ukusebenza la. No, uyakwanisa. But uzakhokhela njani abantu nxa ungela wena ungazi culture yaleyo ndawo? Ngifuna ukuthi sizwisisane lapha esikhona. So imanifesto lesingayo ikhuluma ngezinto zenezwe ezimqoka. Izinto zenezwe ukuthi umuntu kumele ethuthukise isigaba sakibo kuqala ungakathuthukise isigaba sabanye abantu. Sithi nxa siqhatsha endaweni ezijiyeneyo lizezwe imanifesto yakhuluma infrastructural development, ukulungiswa kwemadamu lemgwaqo. Sithi nxa sokwenzakala lokho esigabeni sakini akuqhatshwe abaqala kuleso sigaba. Singakavumela abavela ngaphi ngapha. Angazi ukuthi liqala na ma UMD ukubiza ukufuna into enjalo. Kuliqala na. Siyakuvumelana. So ngiyajabula ukuthi namhlanje sila launcha imanifesto yethu sivumelana ukuthi kasilocala ukufuna kusebenzela ngakini. Yikho ke bantu bakithi uchairman uchilo ukuthi indaba le kumbe kuncindezelwa kumbe mentality nalelo osafunda ngesikhiwa okuyizi konke sikubhale ngesikhiwa. So senelihloni lami nje uchairman ukuthi abantu bakithi ngiqala ulubalela ngesikhiwa. But let me assure the media ngizalinika ama copies of my full speech. Ngiyenza kube lula ngikhulume labantu benzwisisa. But let me capture or highlight few things that I alluded to on my speech. Today we gather at this historic moment in the history of our party to witness the presentation of our manifesto document to the people of Zimbabwe. The manifesto truly represents our character and form as we demonstrate our political resolve and commitment to see the full implementation of devolution of power during the life of the next government. That's the commitment. Meaning that the next government, the UMD, will be part of that next government. There isn't it? So those who are here, we mean business. We are not just being curtain raisers. We are not going to remain in the periphery because we have what it takes to lead this country. Abanye siyehlulwa ukuthi ilizwe leli libuswa ngomhlobo. And that thing must stop. Singakuvumini khona. Lani lile problem bantu baleli screen. Selikuvuma. Hambani khona ngale libe ngo-deputy. Abakabani. Kumele ube u-deputy omuntu okwanisayo. Hatshi u-deputy omuntu ozabe umtrainer umfundisa. Abanye sabatrainer for 13 years. Sibatrain. 13 years sibatrainer i-politics. Yebo isikhundla asiqhathe ka. But I want you to gain confidence in yourselves. I get angry and troubled when you don't do that. Abantu bakithi seligcwele ubugwala. Uzanchayela ingoma ke izwi la amagwala ayesaba ngiyayithanda ingoma leyana so yakithi kodwa yakhuluma. Phela igwala lidla licatshile. But that must stop. Laba balalesi launch. We are the first one in the political landscape in this country to launch our 2023 manifesto. We are the first one. We want to begin to prepare for elections now. Ngali buyela back ifocus yethu ikuma branches, kuma wards. Lingabuyi lizobuza thina hambani lintshele lithi hayi president sesilo councilor la. So kumele siqalise ukusebenza. Sesijust abantu. Lingamelele ukuthi kulomnye ozabuye ezolitshela futhi selizwile. Nasifuna ama-councillors. Yikho lapho kule power khona. Yikho lapho i-devolution eqalisa khona. I-devolution kayiqalisi ku-MP. I-devolution kayiqalisi ku-president. I-devolution iqalisa ngaphi? Ebantwini. Ngoba sifuna ukuthi livale space. Go and occupy that political space. Livale. Kungela muntu ongenayo. Zimbabwe is in a state of paralysis. Things have fallen apart in our country, and the center can no longer hold, as once alluded to by a renowned Nigerian author, Shona Achebe, in one of his famous books. The majority of patriotic Zimbabweans, regardless of their political affiliation, will agree with me on this assertion and conclusion. It is a tacit fact that ZANU-PF is at the center of this political, social, and economic quagmire that confronts the country, and it is indisputable that for the past 42 years, it has failed the nation and its citizens. The ZANU-PF rule has created a class-based society where the ruling class, their relatives and friends continue unabated with the act of primitive accumulation of wealth at the expense of the ordinary citizens. Lilaba abahuquluzi benotho liyababona. Uchairman uthe izisu zabo sezinjani? Athwele angazi njengoba la isisu sithi jaha kumbe lawo bakubale khona ngale ayibona indoda le isisu. but imbona ngathi awukhulunywa ngabo lapha uyabona ukuthi indoda iyasutha le kabala ziswe zethu lezi zabantu abacakileyo njengathi but okusimangalisayo ukuthi bayaqhubeka beqhubeka belokho befuna more and more and more belokho betshontsha more and more and more mina ngithi nxa utshontshile wanotha kanti usafunana but ukhaya ngathi so ngathi ibuthakathi anje okuthiwa nxa ufakwe lokhuyana kumbuhlungelo ekuloye na umi ungaze ubanjwe kawumi ungaze utshela ukuthi umthakathi onjani kawumi ngoba sokuyiculture so mhlambe this is what esikhangelalelako. On the other hand, the poor, the marginalized, the unemployed, and the economically excluded communities are barely making enough to feed their families. Imajority yabantu leyo. Liyakwazi bomama ikakhulu mbona kulawo mama ne ukuthi kunzima njani ukunakana ukuthi intambama kudliwana. Akunjani? I think all of you likhathaza ukuthi intambama kunjani? Kudliwana. Ekseni angazi kumbe liyathi ekseni kudliwana. Umoya lwana udlizolo bona ukuthi uyabona ukuthi ekseni ukhona. But definitely sokuchaya imini yantambama. The question kumama wonke ntambama kudliwana. Whereas ulabantu abahleze eHarare ababona ukudla ufika ngamacele wonke. This is a clear result of poor leadership and bad governance. Sithi sikuhlupho lolu because of poor leadership and bad governance on the part of the incumbent government, that is government of ZANU-PF. I would like to emphasize that at the center of all this political mayhem, social and economic crisis the country faces is the crisis, as I've already alluded, of leadership and governance. Akula bukokheli, I declare that. When I was asked to speak at Africa Day, mhlaka 25, I declared again, ilizwe Africa, continent Africa fails to rise to the occasion to develop because akula bukokheli Africa. Kula bantu who are just position holders. Abala thando lwabantu. Oh, ngiyayithi izinto ngiyamthola uMandela. Siyakwazi ngabe le fault ethize, but uMandela is one leader owayithanda abantu. Owayithanda abantu. Sasilonkomo, unkomo wayithanda abantu. Hachi lolo lwathola umbuso ngo1980 lolo olwaluzonda abantu. Bathi ukuthi unina wathi ilizwe lizadubeka. Umntanami lo uyosepresident because umuntu wayelomona. Xa wayengela mona, then tell me why wathumela kuground uthi yebulala abantu. Ngayizwa abantu bakithi. So Africa, Zimbabwe lacks that character, lacks that kind of leadership. Ndebele ndikuwesi. You have relegated your leaders to enyinto lemsam. So, is that what you want? Mina, I will respond on your behalf and say no. So, we are saying bad political and economic decisions and the choices by ZANU-PF government has tremendously caused harm to the ordinary citizens, leading to the collapse of the economy and the dissemination of social fabric. Akusela kuhlalisana, akusela kuhlonipha kweculture. abantu abasahloniphani izinto ozizwayo ama-cases owazwayo kuma-communities, they are amazing ukuthi how abantu bengenza into enjalo njani. So I want you to note that. What we continue seeing ZANU-PF government doing is the implementation of their divide and rule strategy, where most economic and social programs and activities benefit largely ZANU-PF linked individuals, while deliberately excluding the majority of citizens. We are saying that must stop, and it must not stop now. I encourage Zimbabweans to elect a government for the people that will be inclusive and represent the aspirations of all Zimbabweans, regardless of political affiliation. Hachi lokhu ukuthi abantu bonke seligijima lisiya join iZANU ukuze liyehola. That must stop. Abanye gijime khona ukuthi uzuyethola i-t-shirt. That must stop. Kumele abantu bethole because they are Zimbabweans njalo balama needs. Sibona ukudilika komnotho suku zonke. Sibona ubusela nsuku zonke. Sibona infrastructure idilika. Khangela imigwaqo. Go out uthi uyadrive imoto udrive nzima kumbe lo uhamba inqola yakho uhamba nzima. That is because of ZANU-PF. Into enkulu kumele sitsho ukuthi ungubani. Angifuni ukuchaya injamfihlo umphini. We are in this mess because of ama-failures eZANU-PF. We must say it now and forever. But liyesaba uze umuntu ekhangela ukuthi ungubani oseduzane lami. Mhlawumbe uza ngizwe. No. Asibele inhliziyo esilayo abanye. So we are concerned ukuthi abantu bethu, abantwa bethu, they are scattered all over the world. Abanengi base South Africa, abanye Botswana. As a party, we are concerned ukuthi abantu ababalekele misrule yezanu here, political persecution, ukuchayelwa bechayelwe ze politics, ukuthi abantu labo sebe zingelwa njengamakhanka kubuhlungu lokho. Kubuhlungu nxa ukhangela impikitsha kamfokanyathu ujaha wemalaba wakomalaba. I think wakomalaba mbesikanga nje. Tumando wapole kanje. Owachiswa etisa ke la ibona impikitsha abanye. Kubuhlungu ubona umuntu a human being echiswa ngathi kuchiswa nje amahlahla. Amahlamvu. So kungenxa yokuthi Zimbabwe has failed to accommodate and employ those people. So akumangalisi nxa ZANU-thule ngakho ingakhulumi. It is because bayakwazi ukuthi bona bayi problem. ZANU-PF is the problem. Kulele lelizwe. Lathi izakhamizi siluhlupho ngoba singamagwala. Sisuka sincedise ubunzima lobo ngobugwala bethu. So bantu bakithi sihlangene lapha njoba sichilo ukuthi sibe yibufakazi. Ubufakazi bekuhlelwa kohlelo lwethu lomkhankaso sisiya ku-2023. The theme of this launch is carefully selected. Devolution of power a transformative agenda for total reconstruction of the state. Ngizayiphinda njalo. Devolution of power. A transformative agenda for the total reconstruction of the state. We are of the firm belief, njenge-UMD, ukuthi khona ilizwe leli lidilikile, ilizwe leli lifile, nxa kulento enjalo. Lifile ilizwe leli, akulanto ongayenza ngaphandle ukuthi uliqale kulibumba ulilungisa. Alisagambeleki. Siyazwisana. Isigqoko singaguga kakhulu ungathi uyafaka isigamba kuyadabuka. So this country you don't need just to reform. No. You need a total reconstruction. Ama structures ka government kumele ilungiswe tshintshwe. We can't have ama parastatals behave ngendlela ngathi ngama organizana. We can't have ozesa kuthiwa kule mali ebhatalwa ama-levy ye-rural development amagetsi singabone emakhaya. Imali yakhona ngesikhathi sekampeni nama-congress ezanu uyesebenzayo. We can't have that. We can't continue having that. So yikho bantu bakithi nxa sikhuluma nge-reconstruction siyavuma thina ukuthi akulanto ebambekayo ngoba asikwazi ukuthi ama-structures ka-government vele ngakabani. They don't belong to the state. Ungaze ukhangele lama-security sector, amasotsha ethu asetshenziswa. And that must stop because they are state organs. They are not ZANU-PF organs. Amapolice asetshenziswa. Yibo laba bantu. Lama CIO labantu abachele. We need these people. They belong to the state. Singavumi lathi ukuthi they belong to ZANU. Anto silabo laba bemthetho namhlanje. I want them to hear that. Ukuthi uSpeaker uthe you don't belong to ZANU. Don't belittle yourself by behaving and acting like ZANU omncane. No, you are not. You are bigger than ZANU. ZANU kuzachabalala kwelinye ilanga. Obhanda babekhona bahlala over 30 something years. The party yabo bachabalala. So I'm encouraging our government institutions to be professional. Bechiyane lokusetshenziswa ngokuyi-ward chairperson kumbe uyi-cell chairperson. Kungafika umuntu wakhona uyazi kuyalanda u-chief executive usekhaya ebhayiza umuntu efunde kangaka elandwa ngumuntu ongakwazi ukubamba impensela. Sorry, I'm not denigrating umuntu ongakwazi ukubamba impensela. It's important as well. But I'm explaining in the context of the fear that is there, out there. So, I'm saying I'm a state institutions kumele ebe very neutral and impartial in the execution of their duties. Yikho esukukhangeleleyo, yikho esukufisayo. Fellow Zimbabweans, in conclusion, I want to say this to you. I now invite you all to come and walk with us in search of an everlasting solution to the Zimbabwean crisis. I want to be with you when the nation fully embraces a nationally devolved system of governance as enshrined in chapter 14 of the Constitution of the Republic and beyond. I want to be with you when we celebrate the defeat of ZANU-PF in the 2023 harmonized general elections. I want to be with you when the country finally abandons the principle of centralization in favor of empowered provinces and communities. I want to work with you in the new Zimbabwe governed by progressive and energetic leadership. Madoda, bomama. Abantu asebediniwe kabahlale phansi akunjalo. Abantu nxa usudondolozela hamba ehlala labazukulu akunjalo. That is important. Ngoba there is no way I can be competent to define the future of these young people I see here. Ngoba mina umphako unjani uyabe usuphelile. Umphako uyabe unjani usuphelile. So we are saying I want to work with you in the new Zimbabwe governed by progressive and energetic leadership. I want to walk and work with you as we begin the reconstruction of the state and our economy. Ngifuna sisebenze sonke sibumba sisakha ilizwe lethu. I think we have resigned to say ilizwe lela silo lethu ngelezanu. That politics iyazwisa ubuhlungu manje. Uthi uyakhuluma umuntu kanti bathina bezanu bona bathele. Hey. But I want to be with you. Sibumba ilizwe lela kakutsha. Because Umgabe and his people in 1980 failed to build a nation. Liyanzwisisa kabumbanga isizwe Umgabe. Umgabe divided isizwe in 1980. He divided us. He made us enemies, Shonas and Ndebele. Yet singabantu banye. We are all human beings, akunjalo. And they decided to send abantu bakuthi beyibulala omunye umhlobo. And I want to say, as we launch, it is our hope ukuthi indaba yegugrawunde le sihlala iminyaka leminyaka ingaresolvanga, it must come to an end and be resolved. Ngizabo ngikhona when we sit njengabantu njengesizwe sizama ukuresolve the unfinished business ye kuground genocide. Indaba yama birth certificate, indaba yama death certificate eloku ihlupha, I'll be there when we are resolving that. uNkulunkulu uzangikhangela engeluse enganthathi singa resolve those issues. Abanye bathi abantu bakampena eGround. No, thina sikhulumi ngayo. Siyamenshena ububo obenzakalayo lokumele kulungiswe. Sesiyedlule ukukhuluma ngayo ngoba sasi phakathi kwayo asitshelwanga thina. But sesikhuluma ukuthi the country must come together to resolve that issue. We want to resolve that issue. And that issue is not the issue of Ndebele alone. That issue is not the issue of those victims. It is not their issue. It is a national problem, a national crisis. Ukuthi uhulumende wezane ngaze khitshwe embusweni, i-issue yeGugrawunde will remain. Siyazwisana? Linganakani ukuthi ungaphuma izanu ngoba yibo ababethuma abantu to disappear. No. Because we are talking about human beings, anjo. Any government oyabe khona kumele sinike umlando to resolve that. I remember Bill Clinton, after close to 60 years, when Americans, Amakiwa egangile, injector abantu abamnyama ngomkhuhlane lo kuthiwa isyphilis, anjo. Liyawuzwa khona okuyibala leli lesikhiwa leli. Amadoda ayinjector befuna ukwazi ukuthi kuphila how many years emzimbeni womuntu. And abaningi fike 50 years, 60 years ba injectwa nge-injection. Yikho sometimes nxa sikhuluma nge-HIV and AIDS ngithi kanti khona kufike njani khona? Nxa sikhuluma ngo-corona lo sesihlala sesivala imlomo, lokuthi kanti vele kufike njani? Kufike njani khona? Kuqalise khona apha yini bantu bakithi? But kuyafika. So uBill Clinton wakuthatha kwaba umlando wakhe to publicly apologize on behalf of asabadlulayo amakhiwo ukuthi hayi kwayenziwa into embi sizacompensate labo bantu abalokhu zomkhuhlane abalokhu begula ngenxa yakho lokho. So I'm giving that challenge to Zimbabweans ukuthi kangifuni ukuthi ngoba izanu isikhichiwe abantu benangana ukuthi those issues they are things of the past. No, we are not going to accept that. So kumele zibe resolved. Banbagit, lastly, I want to be with you when we abolish all forms of discrimination, marginalization, disunity, corruption, and subsequent suffering of the people of Zimbabwe. uNkulunkulu kabusise iZimbabwe, uNkulunkulu kabusise iMatabeleland, uNkulunkulu kabusise iAfrika. I thank you.
Viva.